in most cases, you would hear Nigerians talking about, may Nigeria not happen to you. When they say it, it's not because they hate the country or whatnot, but based on the things going on in the country and out of frustration. Now, when they say, may Nigeria not happen to you, we don't mean to talk about the government, but the things going on in Nigeria. Now, there are a whole lot of avoidable deaths going on in Nigeria right now, which is not being looked into or talked about. Today, I present to you Mr. Adetunji's story. Mr. Adetunji was a successful businessman and a co-founder of Bumpa app. Bumpa app is actually an app for business owners. They tell you things to do and how to grow your business in general. Mr. Adetunji, on the other hand, was residing in Canada. I mean, he wasn't in Nigeria, but he took a quick visit to Nigeria. And guess what? He's already dead. I mean, come on now, bro. When we talk about all of these things, we don't hate the country, but we say things based on reality and the things going on in the country. So when people come outside to speak up, please don't be that person to say, protect Nigeria PR. What are we here to protect? Lives are not be valued over here, and that's it. On the 4th of March, Mr. Adetunji had closed from work and went to iFitness in Victoria Island. Returning back home, he was riding on his power bike. Now, here comes Mrs. Abiola Adams, who wasn't looking or following the guidelines of traffic. She ran into and crashed into Mr. Adetunji. Mrs. Biola Adams refused to even get down from her vehicle to see the person she had hit. She was right there inside her car. Her reason was she does not want blood to stain her car. Now, Mrs. Abiola was coming from a restaurant where she had dinner with her friend. She drove that car herself. Meanwhile, she had a driver. She told her driver to ride her car while she ride on her friend's car, making the driver drive the car behind them. Now, when they got to the hospital, he was rejected in the first hospital, and they also rejected him in the second hospital. And this, I can never understand this process. Like, this can only happen in Nigeria. How can a hospital see a patient who is 50-50? Like, is either this person dies or this person lives? And if this person lives, his life is in our hands. But guess what? In Nigeria hospital, they would reject such a patient. I mean, I always think about it. I'm like, Jesus Christ, this is crazy. There is no way you want to explain it to me to convince me otherwise. It is actually witchcraft for you as a doctor to go to medical school for 5 to 6 years or 7 years, and when you see a patient which you have taken oath to save their lives, you would reject them. Reason being that there is no police report. How would there be a police report when it is emergency? It is common sense. So when Mr. Adetunji was taken to 2 hospitals that rejected him, they took him back to the accident scene. After which, they called his brother. When the brother came to the hospital, he was handed his property, which is Mr. Adetunji's property. When he was handed the property, shortly after, he was declared dead. Mind you, this accident happened 10:20 p.m. Mr. Adetunji fought for his life for 2 good hours straight up. He was fighting for his life for 2 hours, but nobody saved him because we are in Nigeria. Now, in a sane country, first responder will be called, which is the emergency service. They will be called. Afterwards, the police will immediately arrest the person of Mrs. Biola Adams. But guess what? Mrs. Biola Adams is still walking freely in Lagos with nothing being done, even to the point the family had to beg everybody to go sign petition to get this woman arrested. She works in a reputable health insurance and broker. So, I mean, there is money, there is this, there is that. According to them, when you have money in Nigeria, you are above the law. So the family is actually crying out and begging the good people of the world to please help them sign this petition. Now, in a sane country, they don't have to beg people to sign petition whatsoever. The government and the police, they will do their job. I mean, that's the law. But hey, this is Nigeria anyways. Now, let's take a look at it from another angle. When Mr. Adetunji was hit by Mrs. Biola Adams, let's think about the thoughts running through his mind. Maybe he said 1 or 2 prayers begging God not to take his life, because that was how hard he fought to be alive. for 2 good hours, he wasn't attended to. This is somebody that was hit. He was unconscious for 2 good hours, but he was still breathing, fighting for his life. Why do we do this in Nigeria? Like, no regard for human life whatsoever. Where is the sympathy? Where is the empathy? Where is everything? Why is this going on in Nigeria? This was a young, promising man who decided to visit his home country. There is nothing bad when somebody wants to visit their home country. So do you mean to tell me that Nigerians in diaspora shouldn't come back, or they should have this fear in their mind that at any given time when they return home that they will die? Is that the impression we are trying to make? Because make it make sense. Now, to the Nigerian hospitals that always reject victims, because I would blame you people and also blame Mrs. Biola Adams. At the end of the day, you guys are into this together. If you cannot do your job, resign. How about you save life first before asking unnecessary questions? Who can get a police report from an emergency? Does it make sense to you guys? It doesn't make sense to me. Anyways, guys, let me know what you think in the comment section. As usual, I'll see you guys in my next one. Till then, remain blessed and remain safe. Bye bye.